you so much. It's wonderful to see all of you today. I'm April Barton. I am the extremely proud Dean of the Thomas R. Klein School of Law of Duquesne University. First, I just want to say to all of you, congratulations. Each of you were chosen as Dean Scholars because of your outstanding academic achievements and your leadership qualities. I must say that you all stood out during our admissions process, and we want to recognize you and honor you and celebrate you, not only today, but during your time at Duquesne Klein. We know that you will enrich our academic community in meaningful ways. First, I want to talk a little bit about Pittsburgh. I know some of you may be familiar with Pittsburgh and maybe from Pittsburgh, but not everybody is from Pittsburgh. You should know that our law school is the only school in the heart of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Our campus is set off a bit, which is nice. We are located on the bluff, as we call it. So while we are in walking distance to the city, and so we're close to firms and businesses and all the fun things to do in the city, we're also set off a little bit, and we call it, we're up on the bluff. So it's a nice, safe and secure environment. And I find that it's a really great combination. And also Pittsburgh is known for a lot of things. It's a great, great city. Those current students, you can start typing in the chat some things that you know that Pittsburgh's known for, or any of our admitted students, if you are from Pittsburgh. But we are known for lots of things. We're known for rivers, right? We're known for the three rivers. We're known for beautiful bridges. It was one of the things that I noticed. I am originally from the Philadelphia area, and I moved here 4 years ago. I love all the beautiful bridges in Pittsburgh. I think it's yes, thank you, Ed. Fries on top of salads and sandwiches. It's still very much a mystery to me, but that is something that we are known for. Primanti's, thank you. We're known for great sports teams. It's an affordable and livable city. There's so much to do. There's a cultural district. There's a theater and opera and ballet. There's all sorts of different sporting events, museums, the Carnegie Museums, restaurants and coffee shops. Some people, let's see what people are putting in, pierogies. Yes. So one of my favorite things to do in Pittsburgh, and you can start sharing some of your favorite things to do. I love to go to a Pirates game. What happens at a Pirates game, in addition to, there's often fireworks at the end of games. There's something known as the pierogi race at the fifth inning at a Pittsburgh Pirates game. Those of you who are not from Pittsburgh, I see you making little scrunchy faces and saying, what are you talking about? There's pierogi mascots, and they run around the field and have a race, and it's pretty much the best thing we like to do with my family on a nice summer night. But really great things. Yeah, the PPG Arena is right next to the law school. You can walk to a hockey game. There's so many fun things to do. The Market Square around the holiday time of year is so much fun. There is Kennywood. Thank you, Christine. Kennywood is a very well-known amusement park. And there's a beautiful fountain at the center where the three rivers meet. There's soccer, there's football games, there's baseball games, there's hockey, lots of great restaurants and coffee shops. So it's really a beautiful city, and we love being located right in the center of it. So let me talk a little bit about what Duquesne Klein is known for. Our law school, and again, I invite our students and our staff to jump in. We're known for lots of great things at Duquesne Klein. We're known as a very caring community. We care about treating everybody with dignity and respect. One of the things we're very well known for is outstanding bar passage. You may have heard that we were ranked 6th in the nation for our bar preparation program and our bar outcomes. So if you're interested in passing the bar exam, come to Duquesne Klein. We're also known for incredible employment outcomes. And so our graduates get jobs, and we're really proud of that. We're known for preparing our students for practice and upholding the highest ideals in our profession. And Caitlin is showing a couple of PowerPoint slides. We were, again, the 2023 Princeton Review ratings came out, and once again, we found ourselves in the top 50 of all law schools. There were 168 law schools that were rated by Princeton Review. What I love about Princeton Review is that not only do they look at our employment outcomes and our bar passage and our admission metrics, but they survey over 15,000 students throughout the nation. So current students about their experience in law school. And so this is really a reflection of students and how they feel the Career Strategy Office serves them, and our professors, how they are teaching, the quality of their teaching and their accessibility. That's something that we take really seriously at our law school. Our professors are here for you. Our staff, we are here for you. It's an open door policy. And we know that you want to come talk to us outside of the classroom. Not only do you want to talk to us about what maybe what's happening in class, or if you have questions, but we know that students are dealing with a myriad of issues, and we want to be here for you and serve you and make sure that you're getting the best education. So we're known for lots of really great things here at Duquesne Klein, and thanks for sharing those slides. What I'd love to do now is go around and have all of our admitted students, Dean Scholars, introduce themselves. And so if you could just share your name and perhaps a little bit about where you're from, maybe if you're interested in sharing a fun fact about yourself or why you want to come to law school. I'd love a chance to, I've gotten to know you through your applications, but I would love the chance to have each of you introduce yourselves. I'm going to call on you so that you know where to go. So that's great. Well, I love you all already. You're amazing. What an amazing, talented group. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about being a Dean Scholar. And specifically, I want to tell you a little bit about the Dean's Leadership Fellows Program. So I will say several years ago, I had a listening tour, and I went out to employers and I talked to employers about how we can better prepare our graduates for practice. We already do a fabulous job, but one of the topics that kept emerging with employers was doing more around leadership, because leadership is important when you go out into practice. It's important for lots of different reasons, but you think about performance evaluations and promotion decisions. Many of the skills associated with leadership are part of these decisions. And so we wanted to think really hard about what we're doing in terms of preparing our students for leadership. I will also say that our students, and 4 of them are on this call, and I'm hoping that they'll join the conversation. Our students very much at Duquesne Klein, they believe in service. They believe in a higher calling to advance justice in our society. It's one of the reasons why I'm so profoundly grateful to serve as dean, and it's why we created the Leadership Fellows Program. And so by virtue of being selected as a Dean Scholar, you're automatically invited to join the Leadership Fellows Program. And really, and the students who are current students know I say this a lot. I truly believe that your generation of lawyers is going to change the world and our society in profound ways. And our profession, really the reality is that lawyers change history. We have the ability to improve the human condition. We write laws, we promulgate regulations, we decide cases, we advocate for things that we believe in. We also are voices for those who may not have a voice in our system. But we also find ourselves in positions of leadership. So whether you think of presidents and mayors and senators and representatives and judges and DAs and CEOs, you name it, we find ourselves in these positions. We lead boards and teams and organizations. And I think when we find ourselves in these positions, we have to realize that with these roles comes great privilege and responsibility to do our part to serve our society and advance justice. And so we created the Leadership Fellows Program. And really it's about developing a leadership mindset. we don't talk about leadership as a role or position necessarily. It's about sort of bringing a mindset, no matter where you are on an organization chart, and understanding that leadership is something that you do or you bring to an organization, but it's also a process. It's not something that you just one day you become a leader and you're done. It's about realizing it's a lifelong journey. And I will say at Duquesne Klein, the type of leadership that we talk about is about really approaching every single day by bringing your best self to that day, but serving society in meaningful ways, knowing your purpose, knowing your why, knowing your core values, leading with compassion and courage, and really about serving others and enabling the brilliance of others to shine. And that's really how you take an organization to the next level. We meet every few weeks over the course of an entire year. You should know that we don't assign additional reading or homework. There's a DISC assessment that you do, but that only takes a few minutes because we're purposely creating a very nurturing and supportive environment. But we do engage in lots of great dialogue and brave conversations about what it means to approach your professional development with a leadership mindset. And so we have lots of different modules. I lead some sessions. We bring in some consultants, with guest speakers, alums, and some faculty and staff that lead sessions. But different modules, we talk about defining leadership and the qualities of a great leader. We talk about value-centered leadership. We do the DISC behavior assessment, so you understand your behavior style and the styles of others. We talk about bringing a leadership mindset to your jobs and your interviews. We talk about inclusive leadership and how to speak and present with influence. And that's just sort of a taste of the different modules that we have throughout the year. Students who complete the program are then presented with a framed certificate. We invite them to join us at a reception where they're presented with their certificate. And we have some of our most prestigious alums join us at that reception. They sit on my board, and it's a really exciting and a nice way to network with some of our alums. And so that's just a little bit about the program. I think we have found that it's very meaningful, and we can do our part to promote equity and improve the human condition and promote healing in our world, which is really what we need. And so I'm happy to answer any questions about it. I'm also happy to have, we have Jamila, we have Ed, we have Kay and Pilar who are on the call, who are all Dean Scholars and who are all participated in the program. They can also answer any questions or speak to you about it. So, and does anybody have any questions? I want to make sure I have time for questions. Go ahead, Cassandra.
Yeah. Do we just are we automatically signed up for it, or do we have to sign up separately?
As Dean Scholars, you are automatically signed up for it. And so within the first week of classes, you'll be getting an email from me explaining, where to show up and what to do. We do also reach out to upper level students who serve as the president or vice president of student organizations and invite them to join us. Then there's also an open call, and some students write essays, and there's a selection process. But as Dean Scholars, you're automatically invited to join, and you don't have to do anything but show up. And right now, I'd say our cohort is close to 50 students. I mean, we want to keep it small and selective, but it has grown over the past few years. Anybody else? I know on Zoom, we have to have this awkward pause before people want to jump in. And so I've gotten comfortable with the awkward pauses.
I do have a question.
Yeah, sure.
I would like to hear from the students who are part of the Dean Scholars, kind of like what their expectations were versus like how it actually is and everything like that. Because I'd be really curious to see too from a student's perspective.
Great. Thanks, Nicola.
I can answer this question. First of all, my name's Kay. I'm from Wexford, Pennsylvania, about 30 minutes north of Pittsburgh, and I continue to live in Wexford, PA during law school. So if anyone's looking for good places to live, I highly recommend the North Hills of Pittsburgh. Now to your question. I expected from the Dean Scholars program I don't really know what I expected. I kind of entered without expectations, in fact, because I was like, okay, I'm a 1L. I'm going to have this extra meeting that I go to. It's going to be good for me, but how am I going to get my homework done that day? I kind of was concerned about it, but it's really a lot of leadership advice and training on how to be a better leader and how to start thinking about yourself more. I didn't realize how introspective it would be, but a lot of it is looking at what leadership qualities you already have and what your current ideas of leadership are, and getting more tools in your shed to use for managing people, for managing like just different groups that you have to interact with in law school. Like I definitely applied some of my leadership ideas to my civil procedure project this past couple of weeks. There's a discovery drafting assignment which involved a team. So I feel like it's really practical, usable skills. I've never worked in a law practice before, but I feel like the Dean's Scholars Program and the Dean's Fellows Leadership Conferences really prepare you for that next level of leadership that you're going to be expected to possess after law school.
Thank you so much, Kay. Any of our other students want to jump in?
I would also like to agree with Kay. Hi, I'm Pilar. I'm also a 1L in Kay's section. I'm from South River, New Jersey originally, but I live in Pittsburgh right now. When I didn't know any lawyers. Like, I'm a first generation law student. So when I got accepted into law school and was given the opportunity to be a Dean Scholar, I was surprised. And then in addition, I also was a little concerned because I did not know what to expect. But I will say, like, it does not cause any more stress. It doesn't add to your workload. And it just kind of helps you process what you're going to be doing for the next few years. And also, in addition to that, your second semester is when you're starting to look for your your second semester, which is where we are now, is when you're starting to look for your summer internships. And they give you all kinds of opportunities. So the work that they do in these Dean Scholar meetings help you network and also process what to ask and what to say on these lawyers on locations and other networking events that they provide.
Thanks, Pilar. Anybody else? Okay. Any other questions, or the students want to jump in?
Yeah, I like to ask a question. It sounds like this program is relatively new, so I'm wondering if it was born out of a particular need that you wanted to address. So kind of like the history and the background of it. Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Well, thanks for the question. I will say I did start a similar program years ago when I was at my previous institution. So I had some experience, and I teach law and leadership. That's one of my areas that I teach and study. But like I said earlier, really spoke to employers as part of my listening tour when I first began. I began as dean in 2019, and we already do an incredible job at Duquesne Klein preparing our students for the bar exam, trial skills, legal writing, like lots of different areas. Like, we already do a really great job. And so I was speaking specifically to those employers who hire our grads and graduates of Duquesne Klein. And two areas actually emerged from those conversations. The one was leadership, and leadership is one of those words, Ken, that it's used so many different ways. Sometimes I feel like the word's overused and it means so many different things. So I get why you asked that question. And that's why I took time to kind of explain to you how we approach leadership and how we talk about leadership here at our school. And so making sure that our students are thinking about, what it means to have, what are the leadership skills that can be learned, things like crisis management and decision making and problem solving and working in teams. And then there's also qualities, like what are the qualities that you look for in a great leader? And we have a really, really rich dialogue around that. I will say what I've noticed with with your generation is that qualities that you are looking for in a great leader have evolved from previous generations. And so previous generations, they looked for somebody who was like confident and poised and had vision and could inspire, all great qualities. But your generation demands leaders to be authentic and vulnerable and compassionate and inclusive, and all of these it's just an entirely different dimension. And that's why I love what I do. And I love working with students in your generation, because you're sort of demanding this additional dimensions of leadership. So we talk a lot about that. Like I said, and then the other area I will say that emerged in those conversations with employers was having knowledge around business and finance, and how, so we talk about lawyers, we don't sort of work in silos anymore. You need to, and one area that's really important is having, you don't have to be the expert in the room, but you need to at least understand the vocabulary. You need to understand the difference between a balance sheet and an income statement. You need to have basic finance skills. And that's going to help you. And it doesn't matter what area of law you practice. And so what we did is we heard that feedback as well. And we have a Business Essentials micro-credential program, which is 9 credits on top of the JD that students can take. Their MBA level courses. You can also use it as an on-ramp to the JD MBA program, which is a dual degree. But that's a little bit of the history, Ken.
And Ken, I just want to weigh in. That's a really astute observation that you made, that this is a new program. It is something that is taking us to the next level. Often, as the dean said, you hear, well, there's a born leader. Well, that isn't always the case. And sometimes on an application, I'll say to a student, I don't see anything about leadership here. And after we talk, that emerges, because leadership manifests itself in so many different ways. But people often will limit it to, well, I wasn't elected to a position of authority, so I don't have any leadership. And that's certainly not the case. I wanted to mention one other thing. Pilar said, I'm a first-generation law student. How many here are first-generation law students? I'm not a law student, but okay. At Duquesne, we've been tracking this. 89% of our students are first-generation law students. So I'd like you to know that, so that when you look around the class, you don't think I'm the only one here without a family member in the law or a network of lawyers. It will be the exception here, the student that does have that network. It's important to know that, because you get a lot of things that you're wondering about. You don't know what questions to ask. Everybody's in the same boat here. So you'll get a lot of support for that. There's a lot of intentionality about getting you, like Pilar mentioned, lawyers on location, networking opportunities, and learning, intentionally and consciously about leadership. We really focus on things like that we know are key to your development.
Thank you. Isaiah, it looks like you have a question.
Can everyone hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Yes. So we just spent some time talking about the joint JD and MBA program. I was wondering, as I understand that Duquesne Klein received a rather large donation, and there's a lot of money to build new programs and do things like that, if there was any opportunity or any thinking about building similar programs for other joint degrees. So me personally, where I'm coming from, obviously coming from a biochemistry background, I have a lot of interest in patent law. And so looking forward at potentially needing a master's in a biochemistry or chemistry field, that's where I'm coming from this. So I'm a little curious to see what you have to say.
So first, I will say, so the Klein commitment of $50 million really puts us in a sort of a distinct class of law schools. Fewer than 10 law schools in the nation have gotten a commitment of this level, and it certainly really is transformational. In terms of building out, because one of the pillars of our shared vision is just cross-disciplinary learning generally, and you hit on one of the areas. I went to law school too to be a patent lawyer, and so we have recently hired an intellectual property and innovation law expert in residence who's helping us build out the programming around that. So different courses all serving that area. So that's one area of development for us. Another area of development you may have heard is that Duquesne is opening a College of Osteopathic Medicine, our entering class for 2024. The building is being built in front of our eyes. I talk to the dean, probably every other day. And we also just hired a health law expert in residence who's coming to help us build out our health law program. And so, you can imagine all the synergies that are between a law school and a medical school, and being able to work with a medical school sort of that's building from the ground up. There's so many, you think of patient care, and doctors are only able to attack like a fraction of what's going on with a patient, because there's often social legal issues that are impinging with that person's care, and where we're envisioning practicum experiences where you have doctors and lawyers, and we have a school of pharmacy and nursing and health sciences. Like, we can all be in the classroom and learning together. So that's another area that we are building out. Right.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
I want to make sure we hear from Jamila and Ed. Could you just introduce yourselves, starting with Jamila, and tell us where you're from?
Hi, my name is Jamila Wesley. I'm a 2L here at Duquesne Klein. I am from Richmond, Virginia, and attended Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. And I sort of stumbled upon Duquesne just without really looking, but they play a local college in my area. And so I looked into Duquesne, and then I remember getting a notification from Dean Stoken about apply to Duquesne. And so I was like, great. So I applied and I accepted, and I attended this very same session, 2 years ago now. And being a Dean Scholar was just really great. It was very insightful. I learned a lot of leadership skills that I didn't even realize were going to be an asset, but I was able to use the ones that I sort of developed through the program during my 1L year, and was able to use them over the summer to help get internships. So I would say overall it's a really great program.
Ed, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Walsh. I'm a second-year law student here. I'm originally from Canton, Ohio, so I'm glad to see that there are other fellow Ohioans on the call, especially those from Youngstown. I spent a lot of time in Youngstown. And then, yeah, I'm proud to be here at Duquesne. I'm proud to be a Dean Scholar. I came to Duquesne for two reasons. One is the academics. As the Dean said, this school prepares you well for the real world. And that's, I think, one of the most important things you have to look at when you're going to a law school. And then the second reason is the culture. The people here are extremely compassionate. They care about you. And I came from a small town, and it has that same quality. It has a small community, close-knit community vibe. And then in addition to that, and people who have played sports before kind of are going to understand this comment, the people here kind of have a chip on their shoulder. They study the law with a confidence and a passion that is extremely attractive. And when I came here on tour, I was really drawn to that. So, like I said, I'm happy to be here.
Ed, aren't you the winner of the Katie Westbrook race every year?
I am. So the law school puts on a 5K every year in honor of in honor of Katie Westbrook, who was a wonderful individual. You'll hear her story when you get here. But yeah, they put on a really good 5K, and
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to win it.
Ed runs circles around everybody.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it was good.
Any other runners on the call? All right.
Other questions? This is the time to ask your questions. But if you think, typically when I'm listening to something, I get absorbed, and then on the ride home, I think about what I wanted to say. So please feel free to reach out to us. You all have our contact information, but you can always reach us at lawadmissions@duq.edu. If you want to talk individually with any of our students, we can put you in touch with them too.
I have a question about like touring the law school. Is that only available on Thursdays and Fridays, or could I come on a Monday and
you know what? Contact us and we'll make it work. We're here Monday through Friday, and that's anybody. And then the university puts on a lot of events on the weekend. We put on events in evenings. So we'll find a time when we can get you here. Sometimes you can't visit all the law schools, but if you can, you want to do that, and we will be glad to host you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And I'm happy to continue to answer questions. So I'm happy to stay on if I'm mindful of the time, and we want to be respectful of your time. And so we will end at 5, but if folks want to stay on and ask more questions, I'm here and can stay as long as you need me to. Maureen, do you want to give any closing remarks or?
Yeah, I always want to throw out reminders. The Admitted Students Day, which is our favorite event of the year, is on Saturday, March 25th. So if you can attend that, please do come. You'll meet current students, more current students, you'll meet faculty, you will meet the rest of the staff here at the school. There will be great panel discussions. We'll probably have alumni here. So it's a really good day for you to get that sense, like Ed was saying, what is the culture at the school? You'll get a sense of that. You really want to have that. We will probably record most of the sessions, so you'll get the information. It's just not the same as the experience, though. And just a reminder, deposit due dates, April 15th will be the first deposit due date. As Dean Scholars, you're getting a full tuition scholarship, but there will still be fees and other things that you will be billed for. So your tuition deposit will go to pay those. And that is a non-refundable deposit. So you want to think carefully about that.
All right. Like I said, it was so wonderful meeting all of you. And I want to give a particular thanks to the 4 law students, Kay, Pilar, Ed, and Jamila, for being here. Like I said, I'm happy to stay on. I want to be respectful of your time. So if you need to go, it was wonderful meeting you, and I'll see you on Admitted Students Day. Feel free to reach out to me directly or our wonderful admission staff if you have questions, and hope you have a wonderful day.